I don't know about you guys, but I was a huge iPad kid. When I was like 6, I made it my mission to download as many games as possible onto my mum's old first generation iPad. I played all of the classics: Clash of Clans, Cut the Rope, Where's My Water, Temple Run, Geometry Dash, and Plants vs Zombies, just to name a few. Now, to quickly change topic, I was recently foraging for video ideas, and I thought, hey, what if I borrow the 1-hour game challenge that everyone else has done, and use it as an excuse to recreate a classic game from my childhood. And so, I set off to do just that. I made an empty Unity project and set up a 1-hour timer, but before I started, I needed a game to recreate. I thought hard back to my iPad kid days, imagining the endless hours of enjoyment and brain cells lost to one specific game in particular, my absolute favourite at the time, Jetpack Joyride. In case you don't know, in this game, you play as Bullet Barry, a tired office worker who steals a revolutionary bullet jetpack from a testing facility and now has to escape, collecting coins and dodging obstacles for as long as possible. Now that we have a premise, the timer can begin. So, first order of business was to get a character. So for now I've just made a little cube, and after too many minutes of fumbling with Unity's input system, I got it moving up and down and running forwards. Ignore the debug messages, please. I also made the camera follow the player because, yeah, I don't need to explain this one. Then I decided I needed an actual character to replace this sad little red cube. So I hopped over to Sprite and quickly put together Bob, a disgruntled construction worker who stole an experimental jetpack from a testing facility to spite his boss. For legal reasons, this character is not based on, nor intentionally bears any resemblance to real people or other fictional characters. Please don't sue me. Now, I'm not really an artist, but just look at these cutting-edge animations I made for Bob. Isn't he a handsome hunk of meat? Next step was to get these all into the game. So I whipped up an animation tree and wowee, just look at him go. In hindsight, it probably would have been quicker to just manually play the animations from the scripts instead of creating a full state system, but I'm quite familiar with this method, so I probably didn't lose that much time overall. At this point, I checked the timer and realized I had only little over half of the time left and I had barely got a game together. I started panicking a little and quickly decided to add a shiny objective for the player in the form of some coins. I got them spawning randomly in rows, and collecting one increases your score by 2? I don't know. I didn't notice this bug immediately, but by the time I did, I definitely didn't have the time to fix it. I also made the floor move along with the player so that they never randomly fall off the map. Next, we needed some kind of obstacle for the player to overcome, so I went back to Sprite and made some evil science lab zappers for Barry to fly over. Again, please don't sue me. I also took the time to make a sprite for the coin, in order to make it a bit more appealing to the player. However, before I added in the zappers, my brain got completely distracted and switched to adding difficulty scaling to the game. This would increase the amount of objects, coin rows and zappers, that will spawn with distance that the player has travelled, which was now displayed in the top right of the screen, so that players could have a more reliable scoring method. After that, I did get back onto my original task and added the zappers into the game. When Bob hits them, he immediately drops dead like a fly because physics, and I added a button that lets the player try again when this happens. At this point, the core gameplay loop was basically done, but one little bit of polish was still missing. Something so core to the gameplay experience in my childhood that was sitting right under my nose. Of course, this was the bullet jetpack, but there was a problem. When I glanced over at my timer, I realized I had only just under 3 minutes remaining. Very quickly, I threw together a bullet prefab that traveled downwards and deleted itself upon hitting the ground. And with only 1.5 minutes remaining, I started writing up the spawning code in the player script, racing against time right up until the final character of code. And then, it was done. Okay, I admit it, the game kind of looks like crap. But at least it's playable, and I guarantee you any true iPad kid like myself would be able to immediately recognize the inspiration, so the game is automatically twice as good due to nostalgia factor. Thanks to this, I would like to personally nominate myself for Game of the Year 2023. Yes, thank you. I'm very handsome, I know. And I expect to win the grand prize of 1 minute playtime of Half-Life 3. On a serious note, this game really is missing core polish like screen shakes, sound effects, background art, and post-processing. So maybe I'll have to revisit it again someday, as you people know just how much I love my polish. Anyway, I hope you had fun watching this video, and I'll see you at the ceremony.